Hello everyone, Professor Thompson once again. This is the second video of three as a part of a welcome video series to the Summer Internet Speech 1100 section that you are enrolled in. This second video is a focus on the chapter assignments, the chapter modules, and the chapter quizzes that you need to complete for this course. So first off, I just want to say that within my Speech 1100 summer course, I have no midterm exam and I have no final exam. Everything that you would be completing would be chapter-based assessment as you progress through the course. So for some people, that's a very positive thing that you don't have to stress out about major midterms or finals. I find that in a course like this, where we have public speaking as part of the process, oftentimes those public speaking assignments can be stressful, and they almost act like assessments as well that are similar to midterms and final exams. So I really like to focus on chapter quizzes as a way of assessing the material that you read throughout a course. I really believe in a philosophy where you should read the chapter, you should then practice the material from the chapter and see how well that you do understand that material, and then you should actually have a formal assessment for that chapter. So it's that kind of thinking that led to the way in which I've created many of my units. So as I mentioned in video number 1, we have 3 units in the course. And so in unit number 1, we do have a series of 5 chapters to complete. In unit number 2, we actually have 1 chapter to complete. And then in unit number 3, we have 3 more chapters for you to complete. Now, with unit 1, it seems like a lot of chapters right off the bat. And I can understand that it truly is. But part of the reason why there are so many chapters in unit number 1 is that your first 2 presentations of the course, the actual public speaking aspect, those are both informative speeches. And 4 of the chapters that you are asked to complete in unit number 1 are informative speaking related. And so in my mind, it is very important that you take part in and complete those 4 informative speaking chapters prior to giving the actual informative speeches that you're required to do. What I want you to do is take stuff from those chapters, take stuff from those readings to help you to be successful in the actual presentations. That's the goal. The 5th chapter that is assigned within Unit 1 is chapter number 1. Just like any Speech 1100 course, this chapter is the introduction to the field, the introduction to the class, the introduction to some different terms that you will have throughout the course. So that's why, when you look at it from an aerial perspective, there's the introduction chapter, and then there's the 4 informative speaking chapters. And so Unit 1 seems like it's very thick, but it's important to set yourself up for success as we go through the course. Each of the units you'll have roughly, a similar amount of time to complete. So if you're registered in a 5-week course, you might have 10 days for each unit. If you're in an 8-week course this summer, you might have 15 days for each of the units. So it really depends on what kind of course that you're enrolled in, and that would determine the amount of time you have. But I tried to equally distribute how long each unit is. Now, when you click into one of the units, and if you look at Blackboard on the left-hand side, I have unit tabs, so you can clearly see Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. When you click into a unit, you will see a listing of everything that needs to be complete in that unit. And you will clearly see where it says chapter material, because it will say Chapter 1, and then it'll say Chapter 1 quiz, or Chapter 9 quiz. And it will give the title of the chapter that comes from the textbook. When you click into the chapter reading, okay, it will redirect you into the McGraw-Hill Publisher material. It will redirect you to your electronic textbook. Okay, once you're in there, the menu is in the upper left-hand corner. And so this is the menu in the upper left-hand corner once you've reached that redirection into the McGraw-Hill stuff that you're going to use to find different things that you need to do. One of the things that the menu gives you an option is an overview of the chapter. This is just kind of a brief, aerial shot of what you'll notice in the chapter. You also have a menu item to actually read the chapter, and that's what I suggest that you do first. And so as you read through the chapter, you can highlight material, you can unhighlight material just by clicking on the textbook itself. So it's an interactive style electronic textbook. After you've read the textbook, you're going to want to click in the upper left-hand corner again, and you're going to want to go down to something that says practice. Okay? When you go down to something that says practice and you click on that from the menu in the upper left-hand corner, it's going to take you to these questions. So it will give you, I like to call them flashcards. The publisher doesn't like when I call them flashcards. But it's like a question that if you were testing yourself preparing for a midterm exam and you were using flashcards or note cards, it would give you a question and you would need to answer that question. And then it's also going to give you some choices at the bottom of that question that say, I know it, I think I know it, I'm guessing, I have no clue. And what it's doing is it's assessing whether or not you actually know to a certain degree. So you put in an answer and you say, yeah, I absolutely know it, and you were wrong. Those things don't kind of match up. But if you put in the correct answer and you say, I absolutely knew it, it lines up, right? And so I get statistical breakdowns of how much you think you know and you actually know, and how much you think you know but you didn't know. So there are reports that are generated on that material. But you're going to go through these series of flashcards where you answer these questions, right? And again, that's in the practice section of the chapter. So up in the menu, you click that, go down to practice, and you'll get these, again, I call them flashcards. You'll go through those. Those are adaptive learning technology. So the more that you get right, the less of those you will have. The more you get wrong, the more you will get. And that's important for me to tell you right from the beginning of the class. So I have every chapter set up so that the module itself is 10 to 15 minutes long. But I've had students in the past who get in there after reading the chapter and know the material really well, and it takes them 6 or 7 minutes to finish those questions. But I've also had students who, didn't really read. They were trying to rush through the material, and it's taken them 25, 27 minutes to complete those questions. So depending on how well you've read and retained that information, your success on those flashcards, those module questions, those practice questions, how long and how much time you have to spend is really dependent on how many you get right. At the end of the day, you get a completion score for those chapter questions. If you answer and answer until the module is complete, you get full credit, 20 points out of 20. There are 9 modules in the course, so that adds up to 180 total points. So in my eyes, there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting 20 points for every chapter module throughout the whole course. So sit down, put the time in, and if you really know the material, it could take you 8, 9, 10 minutes to complete each of those. Once you've finished reading the chapter and then completing the practice questions, you're going to want to go back to the Unit 1 tab, and then in the Unit 1 tab or the Unit 2, whatever unit you happen to be in, there's going to be, underneath the chapter access, it'll say Chapter 1 quiz or Chapter 9 quiz. These are your formal assessments after each chapter. So I really truly feel like if you've read the chapter and you've done the practice questions, you're going to score really well on those quizzes. The other thing you should know is those chapter quiz questions are very, very similar to the module practice questions. They come from the same bank. So you're going to want to make sure and get an idea or a sense of the kind of questions that you're going to get asked. So, then you go in and you click on the quiz from the unit tab that you're in. You complete the quiz, and each quiz is out of 20 points. So again, we have 9 formal quizzes at 20 points apiece. That's another 180 points in the course that come from your chapter quizzes. So between the modules, the practice modules, those flashcards, and the formal quizzes, you have 360 points in this course that come from those chapter elements, okay? So that's kind of a brief overview of the modules, the chapter material, the quizzes for the course. If you have any questions over that, please make sure that you email me with those questions, and we can try and take care of those concerns right away. The third video that's about to come up that I recommend you watch deals specifically with the public speaking aspect of the course. Again, I'm here for your success. I want you to do well. Make sure you stay in contact with me. Have a great day.